Hey, how is everybody today? Today is going to be a slightly different type of video. I am going to do a massage, but today I decided to tell you, while I'm massaging you, a little bit about the place where I grew up, where I was born. I'm not going to talk about the place, like what it is, where it is, but rather describing the memories of how I remember it. Okay, let me get a little closer to you and adjust your head in a more comfortable position. Okay, so I'm gonna start by massaging this part, kind of around your face and your jaw. Okay, I'm going to apply the cream straight away. So I grew up in a very large city, and it is a capital city in its country, but I grew up in a kind of smaller neighborhood. It wasn't a city center. I remember that back in the day my neighborhood wasn't the safest place, but the neighbors were friendly, and even though kind of it wasn't safe back then, I think as a child I didn't really fully realize it until I moved to a different country. The difference, I remember we lived in an apartment, but a small apartment, not a large one, and like I would be going outside when I was a really small child, playing with other children. I suppose like everybody would. But it was also a very green area. Kind of green, full of trees and grass. And I distinctly remember riding my bicycle at some point when I was very small. First I had one of those bicycles with like lots of different wheels. It wasn't just a two-wheel bicycle, and I was riding it right on the road. It wasn't like a very busy road, but cars were going there. I don't think like my mom realized that I was doing it, but my mom is a very kind of lenient person. She would always let me stay out for as long as I want and play with my friends for as long as I want. She would never berate me for coming back home late, but then I would always tell her and let her know if I was going to stay out late. I remember the nearest shop was about 7-minute walk from us. It was just a neighborhood place. We weren't rich or anything, and I did grow up in a single parent family, and we didn't have much money, so sometimes as a child I would go to that shop and stare at the sweets, but I couldn't buy them. Although later on in life the situation improved a little bit, at which stage I became like a person who would always buy my friends lots of snacks, and unfortunately back then I didn't realize it, but I did get people using me for this, and like being my friend when they actually wanted me to buy snacks for them. Okay, 1 second, let me just change the position a little bit so I can face you. Like so. Okay, I'm gonna adjust your head a little bit again. And massage you kind of all over. So yeah, I said I start with the jaw, but I think I'm just gonna go all over. One of the things that I really loved doing is hanging out with my cousin, and we'd be walking great distances, say from my neighborhood all the way to the city center, and then buying snacks in the city center, or going to like theater, going to the cinema. It might sound strange, but as children we would sometimes go to theater. But we preferred the cinema. I don't know what it is like now. I rarely ever visit the place where I grew up. I don't really have many relatives left there. I'm still friends with my cousin though. It's interesting because we will be exploring all the little parts of the city, as in like not very big neighborhoods, but we'll also be exploring the city center quite a lot. And the city center, as it is a huge city, is huge. I believe it's grown a little more these days, or like since I was a child. Still, it has a lot of green parts. I think people in the country really place a lot of importance on greenery and having the green parts everywhere, like trees and stuff. And then sometimes we'd be going to cafes. Also with my cousin. As you probably noticed, she was my best friend when I was growing up. And yes, while we loved walking, and we did walk for like hours, we did also take underground and buses, sometimes trams. We would also take trams, but not as often. Metro line is very easy to use in this city. I find it to be very kind of organized. Or very well organized, I should say. And then we'd be buying ice cream quite often as well. Just buying it and eating it on the street. We also loved visiting the museums, and for children at that time, I'm not sure about now, a lot of museums were free. So we'd be literally walking into museums just like that, exploring things, looking at things, and then going to the next museum. Some things were not free, of course, so sometimes we'd pay. It was fun. I think remembering one's childhood, in many cases, it's quite fun. So like the fun times. Funnily enough, as I was saying, we didn't think much about how dangerous the place was. I'm not saying that it was like super really dangerous, but it was dangerous. Some neighborhoods more, some neighborhoods less. We were just like hanging out. Yeah, so I have very fond memories of my childhood. Now, of course, there are also like bad parts that I didn't enjoy and didn't like. But yet, when I'm thinking back, I'm just remembering the good times, even the things that I was longing for when I was very small and I couldn't buy because we didn't have money. I mean, even those parts nowadays I remember with like good, like they're good memories. They're happy memories. Time when things were different. I was also rollerblading, I remember. I was doing the stuff like this as well. Also, that was more near the apartment where I lived. This wasn't on the road though. This was on like pedestrian road, which I suppose, now thinking back, it probably wasn't very safe as well for pedestrians. I wasn't a big fan of school. I kind of found myself to be very different from other children. I was very shy. I didn't have a problem with anybody except for people liking that I bought them snacks. I just found that I wasn't very keen on communicating because, again, I couldn't be myself with people, and then some people were like smoking and I didn't like that. I didn't want to do that, and yet sometimes I'd be made feel like if you don't do this, you're not part of the pack. So in the end, my mom, as I said, she's very, very much open-minded. She just took me out of the school, and I was homeschooled for a while until we moved country. And then when we moved country, I went back to school, and it was totally okay in the other country. But then again, I don't think about it in a negative way. I just got that I was different. It's not a big deal. Nobody was like saying anything bad to me. Just I wasn't comfortable. Alright, well, I hope you've enjoyed this story. Maybe not. I hope you've enjoyed your massage. And as ever, thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for liking. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for being here for me. Thank you for your wonderful words as well, for so many sweet and kind and supportive comments. I'll see you now in the next video. Bye bye.